in Villanova. So,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so funny. I think you stole a little bit of my thunder just there. Um, um, this kind of leads me a little bit into my next thing, though, Shane, because you talked about Shane Gostisbehere, Sean Walker, their acclamation. Pretty well known, and I would feel really silly. I think Chris and I would feel really silly if we didn't bring up Alexander Nikishin, the fact that he just signed. And I know that the expectation levels are through the roof. And the reason I want to ask you this is because you've been on the ice. In my assessment, it's great that we've got this guy and what we're going to potentially see out of him long term. And I want to stress
yes.
long term.
Yes.
But I want to know, as a player in your position, are the expectations for him to get on the ice realistic, or is that something that we should just say, wait a minute, let's let this guy get acclimated here, let's set him up for long-term success as opposed to our immediate gratification just because we want to see him on the ice?
Yeah. I think you have to temper your expectations. One. Now, everything you read about this guy and the highlights you watch, he's the highest rated defenseman that's not in the National Hockey League.
Right.
Period. It's not even close.
Yep.
But I say that with being a former player, that the key word there is not in the National Hockey League, because this is the best of the best. When you
Right.
come in, and you'll see what you're made of. Now, I also know, in watching Rod and how he coaches and how much he believes inside his locker room with the players he has, not sure when this guy is going to land on the tarmac in Raleigh. It's not going to
Right.
be for tomorrow's game. It's probably not going to be Sunday's game. So if he's here by next week, does he play in a final two game? Does he only play in one?
Right.
And what I'm going to go off what you talked about when you talk about development, is that enough to just throw this guy into the playoffs? I'm going to say probably not
Okay.
into game one. I'm just trying to temper all the fans' expectations that
Thank
if
you.
he plays only one game, you probably will not see this guy opening round game one. Now, if there's an injury or something like that, obviously, right, he's probably going to get thrust into action.
Yeah.
But when you have a team and the six guys that the Hurricanes do have, not saying that they've been the stout best of the best Norris Trophy guys for the whole year, that's not realistic. But when you have six guys that are unquestionably can play in the National Hockey League, as a coach, you're going to go with comfort and what you know before of like, let's throw the wild card into the mix. Maybe he hits somebody. Maybe he scores like he did 3 weeks ago in Russia.
Yeah.
You that's you can't expect those type of things. You want this guy, one, to feel comfortable, two, to be able to develop in that right situation, like you said. So if I was laying a bet right here, and again, I have no idea when this guy's going to land here,
Yeah.
that you don't see him. I mean, maybe game one, but I'm going to say higher percentage chances you don't see him in game one of the playoffs.
And before Chris, before you jump in,
Yeah.
the question I have too, Shane, is, and you know Rod Brindamore. I don't know him, but from all intents and purposes, he's a very loyal guy. The guys that are on the ice right now have gone through the season and they've gutted stuff out. Shane Gostisbehere has gutted through some injuries.
Yep.
Dmitry Orlov's the same way, even though
Yep.
there's been moments where he hasn't been great. But I'm like, I just think that people are crazy to think that Rod will just sit a random guy that's been through the trenches this year just to get the eye candy on the ice. I just don't think Rod operates that way.
Right. In the unknown. Again, he's good, but we've never seen him in this league.
Yeah.
We've never, I've never seen him in a world championship against
Yeah.
some of the best. So, and I think that's, I mean, when you mentioned about Rod, that's one of his best characteristics. If you're a guy that's going to go in the trenches for Rod Brindamore, he's going to get in the trench with you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he has full confidence in those six guys, if everyone's healthy, going into game one because of what they've done all season long. To sit this team, people may look and be like, oh, we could be better. They're in second place with those six guys, right?
Yeah.
Say it again, Shane.
Moro's played a couple. We're in second place, everybody. Those six are
Yeah.
really good. And are they going to make mistakes in the playoffs? Without a doubt.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you they're going to make a mistake. But they will compete, they will battle, and I think those are the guys you see in game one.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I do like his talent, obviously. Clearly, he's going to be, I think, a long-term piece for this organization,
Yep.
and make impact over the long haul. No question about it, just based off of what we've seen and the trajectory he's had over the course of the last handful of years at the KHL level.
Right.
I
Yep.
do want to piggyback off of Nikishin coming over. I am of the mindset, I mean, loyalty aside, I'm of the mindset that him coming over and playing in a game one of a playoff series is a terrible idea because he doesn't really know how we play hockey. He's been playing a different game over in Russia, and I just don't like. I personally, I feel like he's got more talent than Scott Morrow, but I think Scott Morrow is more conditioned to play Hurricanes hockey because he's been playing it for the Wolves all season. He's been playing it with us for a handful of games, and so I wanted to ask, how challenging is it for somebody to come in right away and pick up the systems of a team that's either coming from a different league or coming through a trade or coming from the NCAAs and just jumping into a team and picking up the systems like that? How challenging is that?
You hit the nail on the head, because that would something Rod would stress as well, is that the way we play is extremely hard,
Yeah.
especially
Right.
for defense. And you can go back and look at players who have come here who maybe have not struggled, but it's taken them a while to get into the rhythm, into the flow, especially as a defender, to make sure they're doing things right. And as you come in, this system is hard to play.
Yeah.
And you don't want those mistakes over and over, and you can't afford those in game one or game two of a playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'll just use a perfect example, and we've just saw it. Didn't work well for Mikko Rantanen. And you can say all you want about the outside things. If I'm going to go back and be an analyst, Mikko Rantanen struggled with our system.
Yeah.
And, everyone can say, oh, chemistry, oh, he didn't want to be here, whatever. I said, I think his ability and how he liked to play didn't really fit the way Rod was pushing him to go.
Right. Agree.
And so when this player gets here, he's got a ton to learn. And then your other caveat is, if you sit in the coach's room, all these fans out there, they're like, we should put him in. Who are you taking out?
Exactly.
Which one? Which guy are you going to walk up to who's been in your room the whole year and be like, you're going to be scratched tonight for this kid who we don't even know?
Right.
Everyone goes, well, so it's not going to be Burns, it's not going to be Slave, and it's not going to be Chatfield. It's not going to be Ghost because he's on the power play. So you're down to Orlov and Walker. Walker's here long term. He can skate. And Dmitry Orlov has won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, McFly.
We're trying to explain the easy answers to you fans.
Yes.
Be patient.
Right.
Because the other part I look at about the playoffs, things are going to happen. It's the most physical time of year. Guys get dinged up.
Yep.
And then the stories develop. Go back to 2006, right?
Yeah.
Ward's story wasn't, I'm the starter going into the playoffs. Other stories of guys all of a sudden getting put in the lineup, they become almost the MVP of the playoffs because they just explode out of nowhere.
Right.
There's always part of that storyline, and allows this kid, I'm going to call him a kid because he still is, to develop and be prepared to get in that system. I also look at the factor is, I've never been to a game in Russia. I know a lot of fans go. But I think about this building as your first NHL game, walking out of that tunnel into this place and going, wow. You're like not being off your game. Like it takes a mindset of like, this is about to happen. We walk out here, you're like, yeah, okay. And you're like, oh boy.
Right.
And what I mean, I don't know if the kid's a grown man. I don't know about his language. The other possible thing is, I don't know if there's language barrier here because he's been over there. He hasn't been.
You might have to play